yet another exciting episode of On Guard with me, Philomena Swana. Mindful, heartful, and purposeful conversations, honey. If it's your first time here, you just found yourself a community of believers who are doing life with Christ one stumble at a time. I'm talking picking, dragging, carrying our crosses, putting it down sometimes just to carry it again because we are faithful to the journey that is put before us. And if you've been rolling with me since episode one, you know I appreciate you. Thank you so much for holding so much space for me in your heart as I hold so much space for you in my heart. Thank you so much. I'm actually realizing that in the description of like the channel, I'm like Vilimina's mana, da, 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 Bible in one hand, coffee in another, and I'm like, girl, ain't no one ever seen you with ain't no one ever seen you with coffee in your hand. What you lying about? But yes, guys. Uh got this one from Papa Pronto, actually. Very delicious. It's a dirty chai. So I know chai latte was like always the grand entrance to me loving coffee, tea, whatever the case may be. Um and then I just started really being a workaholic, and then dirty chai just became like a default order. You know what I mean? So Papa Pronto really makes like amazing dirty chai. I'm not mad at them. So I'm also like those people that have like specific orders at specific restaurants. Like if all else fails, just get me a dirty chai. Certain places make it really great, other places don't. I'm not gonna name and shame, but because I have a whole branded cup, they make it great. So they can definitely have yay for me. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like, share, comment, whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that we do spread the gospel and make sure that, those who need to hear the word, right? Khwatonya, guys, it's cold. Yo, Khwatonya, darling. It is so cold. And you guys know, like, I use the natural lights, like, from my window. And you know what I mean? So also opening it up is like, take it. Like, take it, get in there. So yeah, today I'm definitely prioritizing being warm over, looking like the girl who is the girl she thinks she is. So if you're like, girl, what, are we having a wardrobe malfunction? We not. Baby, it's cold. And that's all I have to say on the matter. Also, for those who are around Four Ways, exclusive books is having, I think they're still having it until the 31st of July. Though I'm not gonna lie, the good books are done, baby. The good books are done. They're having like a whole 65 Rand um book sale thing. Listen, you will go through the books, you will go and go and go and go through the books. I went on that cute little run yesterday with Celine, who is back from her vacation. Gosh, she was gone for a week. And for that 1 week, I actually had to be best friends with my boyfriend. And I'm just like, man, now I have to hang out with you, man. And now he knows all my secrets. So I'm so glad that my best friend is back. So we went on that cute little book run, and um yeah, went through piles and piles and piles of books. I think one thing that was very evident to me during that whole chakalaka was that, guys, books are like the perfect escape, whether it's self-help, whether it's fiction, non-fiction. Like, it's just an amazing escape. And to see like a community of us just like rushing in there to, baby, it was really pretty. I didn't get much because y'all finished the good stuff, right? But I got this cute journal by Elizabeth Gilbert, and the writing here says, "You are a magnificent creature, start knowing it." And I like the fact that she says start knowing it, because we always say believe it, believe it. I mean, I can believe it, but do I know it? Do I know it like I know my name? You know? I don't know if that makes sense. Also, I'm looking at the original price. You guys have money, because why would I buy just a small little journal like this for 490? Well, I got it for 65 Rand. God is good all the time, right? I got another cute book. This one is by Ashley Morgan Jackson. So this one is just basically for the believer who's tired, right? I think and it's been like a month now, right, of me being in a season where I feel like I'm not really, I don't want to say I'm not in the presence of God, or I'm not feeling God. God is not feeling me. You know what I mean? But even as you're a new believer and you have so much fire for God, I think if you're being counseled by the right people, they will tell you that you're going to go through seasons where you're not going to feel God. You know, there are no grand epiphanies that are going to jump out of the Bible, you know, during devotion time. So I'm kind of going through that. I think I'm in that season, but I still continue my course, you know. I still drag my cross with me. So when I saw this book, it's like Tired of Trying, how to hold on to God when you're frustrated, fed up, and feeling forgotten. I think this is me. Not necessarily that I'm feeling forgotten, but you know, you sometimes get a bit iffy when you don't hear from God, when there aren't any grand epiphanies, like I said, or you know, there aren't. I don't want to say signs, but yes, you know, when you're just not really hearing from him like that. So yeah, you know, and when you're also going through a season where there's just so much uncertainty in your life, and I'm at crossroads, like there's so much uncertainty, you know, whether it's my job, whether it's my relationship, whether it's, you know, I'm just at crossroads, and it's just, I feel like it's just one of those times where I really 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 want to hear from God, right? um but it's like no, you know. So when I saw this book, I definitely jumped at it. There was another one I had to pick between this one and the other one, because essentially they speak to the same thing, but I felt like this was more practical for me, and where I am frustrated and I am feeling a bit forgotten. But we all know that's not true. That's just the devil trying to play another game on me, isn't it? But yeah. um Also got a cute little pen. Batong Luna. Got a cute little pen, fluffy, fluffy. If you know me, you know I'm such a girly girl. I'm a girly girl. I'm definitely in my pink era. I don't know if I've said this to you guys, where I read a quote, and this was before I even read the quote. Like my love for pink started coming back even before I saw that quote. Where it was like, if you start loving pink all over again, it just means you're at a point of contentment in your life, like you're at a point of you're okay, man, because remember we grew up loving pink as girls. Somewhere, somehow, ha ke tsebe ke bashimane, ha ke tsebe ke eng, but we just start hating pink, right? So I saw this and I also got it. So all of this was like 65 rand each. Celine also got like a journal as well, and she got this cute book which she's going to share with me, essays on womanhood. Girl, I don't remember. Celine better come back and comment the name of the book that she got. It's also a beautiful book, and I'll just get it from her. I also picked up another book, but this one was not in special. I actually had to use my hard-earned money to get it. Wildfire. Please, if you're under 18, do not read that book. Don't do it. Don't you be going around talking about how that Christian podcast said I can read this. Don't do it. You're underage. Don't do it. The profanity is crazy in that book. But like I said last week, ke ngwanyana le go rata love man. So I love a good romantic novel. I started reading it and I'm already knee deep buried in it. I from time to time I just need to pray over the profanity, of course. But you know, we good. We good. Also, I never gave my childhood bestie Ohotazo a big shout out. Um she got me a belated gift. In June, when I was home, I was able to get it from her. Rory Sang's Disciple Walking with God. I've always wanted to read the book. Haven't started reading it yet. Um, because I'm a girl with quotes, I'm gonna tell you guys about another quote that I read, where they're like, the thing about books is that they won't let you read them until it's time for you to read them, and I think that's what I'm going through with Rory Sang's book right now. Because I finished Michael Todd's Relationship Goals, and I could have easily jumped onto that book, but I couldn't for some reason. And then I remembered that quote. I'm like, it's not the time. It's not the time. It's not the time. Okay, let's get into today's episode. So I actually just realized that I relationship status myself there in the beginning. Uh, like, yeah, listen, we're still trying to figure it out. Okay, we're still trying to figure it out. And if I come back next week and I'm like, hey, y'all better say hey back, okay? But the crazy part about it is that I think today's episode is mainly triggered by that, like something that happened um this week on Friday. Yeah, on Friday. Something happened this Friday. Listen, wholesome guy, super amazing, very chilled. very emotionally intelligent. I think it's probably one of my favorite things about him. Not too funny, but he's okay. I'm kidding. But yeah, today's episode was mainly triggered by something that happened this Friday where um he had to go somewhere, right? He had to go somewhere, and all of a sudden, I was just overtaken by so much anxiety, and I was just so anxious out of nowhere. And I think that fed or spoke to the part of me that's a bit insecure. Because we don't live together. We don't live together. Yeah, for obvious reasons. And if you don't know what those obvious reasons are, then baby, I can't help you. I can't help you. So when that happened, I remember like I was just in so much agony on Friday when I got home, and I was just like, God, I like, why am I so insecure all of a sudden? Like, why am I just so taken aback? Why am I? You know what I mean? And God was just like, I don't understand why you're asking me, because like you've never invited me into that part of your life. You know what I mean? Not necessarily the relationship, but the insecure part, right? You never invited me into that part of your life because for some reason you always thought you got it, right? And there's something about when you are very secure in other facets of your life, could be your career, your friendships, um, your opinions about life, love, and God, and everything. And then it's easy for you to automatically believe that you are then secure in other facets, like it will spill into relationships as well, or whatever the case may be, right? And I think God just revealed that to me, that yeah, you've never ever been secure in that part of your life ever since your first boyfriend. And oh babes, I you know Kermit the Frog, when he's getting shocked, that gif where he's like, that was me Friday night in my bedroom playing a whole lot of worship. I was like, I've actually never been very secure with relationships um ever since my first heartbreak. What? It was so crazy. Because when God brought forth that revelation, was on some, even the times where you felt secure, it's because you just met decent people that found ways to make you feel secure. Like, hey, we good, we fine, don't worry about it. No one else, just you. Yo, 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 right? And that brought something. I remember, like, after that, I said, "Oh my goodness, God, I'm sorry. I am sorry because, baby, I started dating like probably a decade now. So the past 10 years, I just never trusted this man with my insecurities when it comes to dating, and I wasn't even aware. And I remember after that revelation, the strong echoing words that came were, "Are you brave enough to let me in?" And that's today's topic. I'm not going to talk about my relationship, sorry, but I just wanted to give context to where "Are you brave enough to let me in" came from, right? Because sometimes we see bravery as, and for me, I think I've always made decisions that would remind me that I can be brave, whether it's starting a business or starting a podcast or moving to a different city, being a mom and then being a single mom. So it's like there were always hints that I was brave. I was brave until one day, like on Friday, you're sitting there and you're like, I haven't been brave enough to do this. You know what I mean? I haven't been brave enough to let God into the parts of myself that I've also hidden from myself. You know what I mean? Because it's not like I wasn't aware in previous relationships, like that I was anxious or whatever the case may be, but I hid that part from God so good that I also hid that part from myself. And this could be speaking to someone right now. Are you brave enough to let him into your pettiness? Are you brave enough to let him into your anger? Are you brave enough to let him into your inconsistency, your jealousy, your loneliness, your need to be needed, your altar, whatever that altar looks like? Are you brave enough to let him in and let him do what he does best? Because for me, what happened on Friday, it just felt like we tend to have rooms. It's almost like it's a house, and then we have rooms where we're like, God, yes, you can go into the kitchen, you can go into the bathroom, you can go into, the master bedroom, you can go into, but don't enter this room. I also don't know what's in there, but don't enter in it. So it really felt like that, right? And I found myself recalling the verse Psalm 139. And look, it's a prayer that I say under my breath from time to time, like, search me, O Lord. And if you find anything that is not pleasing to you that I'm not aware of, please reveal it to me. And how faithful is our God that even in the mundane of situations, He will answer our prayers, right? We feel okay with inviting God into the safe spaces, so, motherhood, a colleague, a friend, a sister, a daughter, but we never invite Him into the parts of our lives where we are very, very insecure, because we feel like we can keep certain things away from God and certain things we can definitely give it to Him, forgetting that He is so omnipresent. He already knows the things we're going to say before we even say them. He is just so much of a gentleman that He needs to hear you say it yourself and say, God, I have anger issues. God, I have loneliness issues. God, I have this. God, I have that. And I think that's the part of me that I needed to come in terms with on Friday. And that's why I was so taken aback, you guys, when I kept saying, God, why am I always anxious? Why am I always anxious? And it's like, baby, when did you give it to me? And the question, are you brave enough? Because it's not easy. If I have carried this particular problem for 10 years, 10 years of, I almost said dating career. I almost said dating career, right? Because, yeah, I started dating when I was 20 and 29. Yeah, almost 10 years now of my dating career. I've carried it. And not once did I ever think, God, I'm going to let you in. So part of us allowing God to search us, part of us allowing God to do the deeper work in us is giving Him permission, right? Giving Him permission and us letting go of the performance. And I feel like for us to get there, there's a certain deep conversation you need to have with yourself. Baby, I could have left on Friday and said, well, that's just me. I'm just always anxious. That's just how we roll. But I got home and I said, nah, we've been cooking with this gas for a minute now. Why is it like that? And my favorite thing about what happened on Friday, um, I want to believe that for all the times I felt very insecure and anxious around, dating and everything, right? Is that it speaks to Revelations 3, verse 20, 21, where He says, I'm at the door. I'm at the door. I am knocking. I am knocking. And if you hear me, you will open and I will come in and I will sit with you. Right. And it almost feels like for all the times I was anxious, all the times I was, insecure, whatever the case may be, it just felt like that was God knocking, saying, are you aware that you're feeling like this? Because you haven't let me in into this particular part of your life. I'm not saying for you it might be feeling anxious or whatever. I once read a line that said sometimes the discomfort you're feeling, the sign you're looking for is in the discomfort that you're feeling, right? So for you, it might be a point of discomfort. Why are you uncomfortable when certain things happen? Why do you react the way you react when certain things happen? It requires a certain amount of deeper work, right? That you also need to pour into yourself to be able to pay attention to the things that make you anxious, the things that make you insecure, right? We are so quick to say, God, I want more of you. I want you to just overflow in my life. But we keep certain doors closed. You know you have a money problem. You know you have a lust problem. You know you have a jealousy problem, loneliness, whatever the case may be, but you keep that part closed and you let Him into the parts where He's already done the work. In my early 20s, I was very unsure about what I want to do for a living. I was very unsure about my career. I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. Now that I'm secure in my career, I'm just like, yes, God, keep flowing and doing your work. You know what I mean? So it's one of those. You let Him in where He's already done the work, but you keep these doors closed. You close the door on the bitterness that's disguised as boundaries, on the anger that's disguised as righteousness, the jealousy that's dressed up as discernment, the addiction to control that is dressed up as stewardship. For me, the insecurity and in the part where I'm anxious, I guised it for so long as, men are trash, so you need to have your guard up. No, baby, you're just insecure. Let's call it what it is. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is that we also forget to invite. We want to invite God into the big things, moving to a city, starting a business, getting in a relationship. But we forget to invite him in the small things as well, where it really matters. God, I invite you into my heart today. That I be sensitive to the things that may be offensive to me as someone who's rooted in you, as someone who's made in your image. Whether it's the wrong or right relationship, God doesn't want you to go in there insecure, like you don't know who your father is, like you don't know whose image you made of. Because what insecurity does, what anxiety does, is that it leaves room for the devil to come and have a playground in your mind. Rough example, if I get into this relationship very insecure, I will start doing things that do not bring honor and glory to God. Because I'm so insecure, and this man goes like, hey, I felt like we need to sniff a line of cocaine. And I'm like, well, let's do it. Whatever makes you happy. Right? If you don't address the jealousy that is disguised as discernment, when people start doing great things, you're like, yeah, but did God really call you to do that? Are you really called into that? Girl, you just nasty. You just nasty. We grow up believing that God only wants the best of us. But if that was the case, baby, then Jesus wouldn't have had to die for us. He doesn't expect perfection. He never cared about perfection. Vulnerability with God is intimacy. I got vulnerable with him for the first time. I said, why am I feeling like this? And I feel like I felt like this for some time. And he said, well, thank you. I've been dying to have this conversation with you. See what I did there? If you missed it, it's fine. I love you. Because Jesus died. No? Okay. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. So name the rooms in your house where you haven't let God in. Name them. Name and shame. Name and shame, baby. What area of your life have you kept away from God and you've made excuses for it? You've accommodated it because you call it having boundaries when it's anger and bitterness. You've called it loving your own space when really it's just you isolating when God says we need to be community. Name the room, write it in prayer and say, God, I invite you into this disappointment, into this heartbreak. Because when you let him in, you find the answers you're looking for. There's no need for you to act out of pocket. Let him in. Let him into the loneliness you pretend doesn't bother you. Let him into the anxiety you get when you hear their name. Let him into the nights where you cry after you've given it your all and you feel like you're not being recognized. Let him in. Be brave enough to let him in. And I think using the word brave, I use the word brave, like I said earlier, because to let him in at that level, you must have had an honest conversation with yourself, an honest, unfiltered conversation with yourself. Child, you know how hard it was to sit there and say, yep, this is this is me. Right? But I don't want to make excuses for myself anymore. I don't want to say it's because men are trash that I always have to have my guard up. No, baby, your guard is up because you is insecure. When Romans says we need to offer our bodies as living sacrifice, that is our one and true worship. It's not just us singing hallelujah at the altar all the time. It's us saying, God, I'm still mad. God, I'm still lonely. You know what I mean? After watching this episode, you can go back and watch Can I Keep It Real? Echoing the same sentiment. True bravery is letting God be part of the story that you're still crying about, that you're still very much unsure about, that you still need guidance on. So, are you going to be brave this time around? Are you going to sit with your uncomfortable thoughts to get to the uncomfortable solution so that you can let Him go in, go hammer? And well, that's all I have for you on this cutie cold Sunday afternoon. I hope this has touched a part of you didn't know needed to be touched. What are you going to do today? How brave are you going to be to let God in? The things that you've hidden not only from Him, but from yourself as well. Otherwise, stay mindful, stay heartful, stay purposeful. Love and light.